Welcome all. I like to just start this intro by telling you a little bit about what this presentation is about, Five in the Matrix, by yours truly, the Alchemist. I also go by the name of Humane. But today's presentation is going to be a breakdown of the Matrix. It was inspired by Sophia Stewart, who I feel was prophetic. Her writing, which was called The Third Eye Matrix, her book back in the late 80s. And these books inspired the Terminator movie and the Matrix. I would like to kind of revere some of my inspirations as to getting into this work. This has been a lifelong journey, getting into the metaphysical, esoteric sciences. And two guys that I like to revere, two master teachers I like to revere. My brother Bobby Hemmett, right here on the left. Here we have Miss Sophia Stewart in the photo with Orange Fishburne. I won't get too deep into Miss Sophia's story right now, but she did have to fight or had to sue the companies that launched the movies. She was able to create something that imitated real life, real existence, real conscious awareness, real energetic field that we live in. There's other books and writings on the Matrix. There's the Divine Matrix. Greg Braden did a book I read years ago called The Divine Matrix. So here we have universal laws. Right? These universal laws govern the universe, but the one in particular that we're going to be covering in this particular broadcast series would be mentalism. Mentalism just basically says that the universe is mental, because how we interpret the matrix is through mental consciousness. So in this law, it says that the universe is all mental. That's where it starts at. And that makes sense, because when you wake up in the morning, how do you start the morning? You start the morning, you woke up. That's consciousness. So that lets you know that you don't interact with the universe unless you're interacting through consciousness. So that backs up this law that the universe is mental. Also, in this particular broadcast, we'll be touching on the law of correspondence, as above, so below. And that law basically says, if I could break it down to those who are not familiar with it, I would say basically you could see a whole picture in a fractal, a piece of that picture, or you could see what happens in one part, or in our universe is a reflection of the whole cosmos, so to speak. Or if we broke it down to what is used commonly, as above, so below, that means that, or in as within, so without. That also says pretty much the same thing, that the fractal, or the microcosm, is a reflection of the macrocosm, which is the whole. The micro being a small or minute part of the macro. I'm trying to make it make sense, but we're gonna work with it. We're gonna work with it. So let's move on. So in this particular portion, this particular video dealing with surviving the matrix, we're gonna cover the esoteric and the exoteric. Now I have on the screen what these definitions are. I'll leave it up for a little bit so you can read it off. But basically, the esoteric, which is also known as the occult or the hidden mysteries or information or knowledge, is the knowledge that is held by the few or understood by the few. It's the truth, basically. It's the true knowledge, the true understanding of how something works. The exoteric is suitable for the public. It's suitable. Outer, it's the outer realm. It's the exterior understanding of something. For example, let me put it like this. Okay, so we all know that light works. We all know electricity works. When we hit the light switch, or if a fuse goes out, we know how to go to the box and flip that switch in that box to in the breaker box to turn the electric back on. Let's just use that example. That would be the exoteric, the exterior knowledge. We know electricity exists, we know it works, and if it goes out, we know how to turn the breaker box back on. But the esoteric knowledge or information about how that electricity works and how the breaker box works would be for electricians. They would know the intricate knowledge and how it actually works and how the wiring works and so on and so forth. So that's a little explanation, but this is a little deeper because this is the one we're going to be focusing on or talking about as far as the ancient civilizations will be ancient Egypt or Kemet when we're expressing or talking about this esoteric difference in comparison and why this is even a thing in the exoteric information is used. So in the movie Make the Matrix, there's a character. Let me go back because this is Morpheus, of course, but the character I'm speaking of, you can hardly see him right here. Keanu Reeves plays a character by the name of Neo. I'll give you a little premise of the movie. Neo is this hacker or computer hacker, but he's curious about something deeper, depth. I would compare Neo as being a truth seeker, probably what some of you all are today that are looking at this broadcast. He was seeking truth. He knew that something in his reality wasn't quite as it seemed. So Neo started following or getting transmissions from the character that Lawrence Fishburne plays, which is Morpheus. So let me skip back over. Morpheus is known to the public as a terrorist or the most wanted. He was on the most wanted list for, I guess, computer terrorism. But Neo was following Morpheus, he had some type of connection or itch for information or knowledge that we would just say in this case, Neo would be called an truth seeker and an initiate into the esoteric sciences or the metaphysical sciences. And let's say Morpheus was a master teacher, and he had the key to or the information that Neo needed as far as explaining what the Matrix is. What is the Matrix? So in this part of the movie, we're kind of skipping ahead, of course, just to give you an understanding, because we're sticking to the esoteric and exoteric information and how this relates. Is Morpheus offered Neo answers he seeks, the esoteric science, but he needed Neo to initiate, to really sacrifice his perception on what reality was by either taking the red pill or the blue pill in the movie. Important. This is comparative to real life, because when we covered the ancient Egyptians and these other cultures, we're going to be talking about how esoteric information is actually acquired versus exoteric. So in this particular example, the red pill right here, if Neo was to take it, he would discover what the matrix is. In other words, he would be initiated into the esoteric, the mysteries, the truth. If he takes the blue pill right here, he would stay in his current state, ignorance bliss, so to speak, where he would believe whatever he wanted to believe and continue to believe what the masses were telling him in the exoteric sciences or exoteric information. And we're going to be covering a little deeper the difference in the exoteric information and the esoteric information. I covered a little bit explaining it to exactly what it is from our standpoint. Another good example would be, and it's the example we're going to be covering, the esoteric is considered to be woo-woo to most people. When we say woo-woo, is when you think outside of the box. The exoteric, which you take the blue pill, it would be more comparative to the information that we all accept as truth in our society, such as our education system, what we're taught in history. Religion is exoteric. Science, the science that we learn in school, is exoteric, meaning that there's another side to it that's esoteric, which is the truth, the true meaning, the true definition. But as we will find out, you have to be an initiate into this knowledge in order to experience it. And there's a sacrifice there. We're going to talk about that sacrifice. And this is just being the blue pill. Well, everybody's on the blue pill. Well, most people are on the blue pill right now, accepting this reality as truth and all the information that the powers that be give you, and your spiritual truths are based on exoteric information. So in the movie, of course, Neo decides to take the red pill, and with that, he becomes initiated into the esoteric mysteries, so to speak, or the truth. When Neo takes this red pill, his whole reality shakes up, and he finds himself in this place. The premise of the movie is basically to give you a basic understanding. They're using the concepts of reincarnation being inside of a simulation, a artificial simulation, or a holographic simulation. And right here you can see Neo is plugged in. And this is, when I say reincarnation, they are basically regenerating human bodies and souls in this machine, as when Neo wakes up to the truth, he realizes that he's actually been enslaved inside of a AI generated power plant. So just to break down the this point of the movie, what happens is Neo realized that his reality is not the reality. He's initiated into this esoteric science, or this truth, that human beings have been enslaved by AI many years before, and they're constantly being regenerated or reincarnated in these pods, in this power plant that AI uses for energy. So you say, why is that? That's because in this film, you see this cloudy area right here. It's similar to the Terminator film. I don't know if you all, well, I'm just going to assume you have some idea about the Terminator movies and the Matrix movie. But in the Matrix movie, when man clashes with AI, so to speak, they try to cut off the energy source of the AI by blotting out the sun. You can see it up here. That's why it looks so cloudy. They blotted out the sun to cut off the power source to the AI machines. But the humans didn't count on the fact that the AI was way smarter and knew that human beings were power plants, basically, or batteries, or human beings generated power. So the AI built this power plant and used human beings as their power source. So what they would do is just basically have a human being here. They would incarnate it, a human being, and that human being will grow from a child all the way up to an adult, while living in a pod and not even know it, because they're experiencing everything through this machine, the matrix. They're plugged in, their sensories are plugged in here, so they never know that they are not living a real life. They're living a simulated life, a simulation, which is what the matrix is in both this movie and real life. But let me separate the fiction from the non-fiction. In true life, in real life, as far as I know it, we're not in this type of matrix, or we're not being controlled by AI, right? Or at least not the type of AI that we are accustomed to. But it's very similar, and it's a more natural, divine matrix in which that we are in. So I hope that kind of explains where we are with this one. Basically where it is as far as the matrix part of it. But I'm going to bring it all together as to showing you how this esoteric and exoteric information relates to this. In this case, basically, it relates to truth and realization. Esoteric will be the truth. This is Neo waking up, right, and realizing the truth. This would be your average human that was living out multiple lives. And I like the way they also use the ancient Egyptian understanding of reincarnation, because that's the truth. That's the truth you have to understand when understanding the matrix. But they just use machines and pods to regenerate. They would take their dead, flush them down here and liquefy them and reanimate them in the pods some kind of way. Don't ask me how AI does it, but in our reality, in the divine matrix, we know our creator does it. Our creator designed this matrix. So here we go. In ancient Egypt, they had what's called the mystery schools. In the mystery schools, all of the information will be revealed, but similar to what Neo did when he took the red pill in the movie, they would have to initiate or do a series of tests in order to become a member or an occult initiate in ancient Egypt. Now, when they go through this series of initiation, one historical figure or initiate that is said to have went through these ancient mystery schools or Egyptian mystery schools will be Moses from the biblical text, or Musa, depending on which biblical text we're talking about. Ancient Egypt, the initiate would go into, we're just kind of skipping, the process of being actually chosen to be an initiate. They would go into a cave and they would stay in this cave for days. And this cave would be designed to activate the third eye and to unveil the truth from within. I just leave it to at that point, then they will be taught mysteries because they will actually experience the universe for what it truly was in this experience in this cave. And there'll be a series of things that will happen in the cave, but I'll cover that in another video when I really talk about the cult and the process. But I just wanted you to see that that's the esoteric. That would be the esoteric. And so on the non-initiated, as I mentioned, would be the religious leaders in the general public. So in ancient Egypt, we had a lot of mythology. It was called Egyptian mythology. And in mythology, they would basically tell the stories in a mythological way. They would give principles as far as morality and how to conduct life and how to pretty much everything in society, from planting crops to telling the days of the week. It would all be given in a exoteric formula. It would be the knowledge. It wouldn't be the actual true knowledge that the initiates had, but it would be enough for the general public, because the general public didn't need or wasn't ready for the truth. I just put it that way. They couldn't thrive and do what they were meant to do in this lifetime with such information. This information in the the esoteric world was very powerful information. It taught how to map the stars, how science really works, how the creator worked, the universe, how man was truly connected to the universe. Here in the exoteric or the non-initiated life, the everyday, this was like 90 some percent, 99% of the people and the religious leaders, they would teach the mythological education, so to speak, or information. So that's why in ancient Egypt we have a lot of the gods and goddesses and the Egyptians worshiping or venerating these deities, because this was the way that the information was taught and encoded for the general public. This is the way general public seen the information. They wasn't privy to the occult information. That's because in some cases they either wasn't ready for it or it wouldn't be conducive to living everyday life in society. You know that phrase you hear, you can't handle the truth. That's basically what that was. That they wasn't ready or couldn't handle the truth. So in this case, the elites had the information, the rulers, the high priest. You know, when you came out of the mystery schools, you were a high priest. And back then, the high priest was the scientist, the medical doctor, the physicist, the mathematician. They knew all of the secrets of the universe. While on the other hand, the non-initiates, the religious leaders, say uh, the regular priest led and taught similar to way religious leaders teach today. They taught the literal meaning of the information that they had. So that's where the mythology comes from. I just wanted to break that down. That's why you have gods and goddesses with animal heads and so on and so forth. And a lot of people don't understand that about ancient Egypt. They thought that they were just pagan worshiping or some shit, but no, they were learning. It was like their Dr. Seuss books. Like today, when we teach children, we teach the children how to read off of a mythological characters like Mickey Mouse and the Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss, right? The children books. That would be equivalent. That's what they basically were learning. This is how they were understanding Matt and this is how they were understanding Ra and Isis and all of these different concepts because they were actually aspects in moralities, and they were also teaching them who they were, but on a childlike level or a beginner learning a preschool level because they wasn't ready for that type of truth, the initiated truth. That took time, that took effort, that took initiation. So what they were learning were I would compare it to the children's books. So they was learning it, they was getting educated, but they were getting educated through mythology or fictional type characters to give them an overstanding of the aspects of life and creation, if I could get that across. In the Egyptian mystery schools, the focus of essence of reality and unsolved mysteries of the universe and were considered guardians of hidden knowledge. The initiates underwent a series of exercises in magic and ritual practices. So yes. Magic is real, not in the Harry Potter sense. But this is important to understand these ritual practices and how the universe actually works. Okay, this included the use of visualization and other esoteric methods to achieve higher states of consciousness. Remember, I said the universe is mental, so higher states of consciousness is how you elevate in this universe and establish contact with the universal forces. Important, establish contact with universal forces. That's because we have forces beyond what we or the exoteric understand in our universe. Special meditation techniques and energy work were practiced. This is where you get your meditation gurus and as we go into India, all your different yoga practices and things like that. All that was taught in the Egyptian mystery schools. The art of manifestation was also imparted as part of the comprehensive teachings of these fascinating mysteries. So that's just a little breakdown of what they learned in these mystery schools. And that's important because I'm going to illustrate to you how that relates to today. Because most of your information comes from the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, but it is in the exoteric format. not the esoteric. So here we have what was called Thoth. This is an Egyptian god, Thoth, and Thoth was the composer of the Emerald Tablets, according to the Exoterics. Um, and Thoth can be etymologically meaning thought or consciousness. Thought, thoughts, right? So that meant the mental. And they used this ibis's bird head on him to illustrate the aspect of what they were trying to get across. This is how they taught the exoteric. This is how they taught the rest of the people, by using aspects like this, gods and goddesses. And they will use something like this ibis's head actually meant knowledge, or because it's a bird, the bird represented air represents mental, right? They used elements to explain how things worked in the universe. So the ibis's head meant that he was the holder of all knowledge. He was the holder of Thoth, was considered the holder of Akashic records, everything dealing with the universe. So he was the ultimate teacher or instructor in the Egyptian mystery school. He wasn't a real physical being, right? The esoteric initiates knew this, but the exoteric public took it as this. So this would be your, if we want to break this down in children's books, this would be your Dr. Seuss. This would be your Cat in the Hat, this character. But that's what that's how the public understood. They were teaching the same things, but it was encoded. You gotta understand that the information was encoded and only the initiated knew the code. But the people were still getting educated. I will say that much in ancient Kemet. They weren't lying to them. They weren't using it to manipulate them, but they were just teaching them on a level that they could comprehend or needed to comprehend. So this is Thoth. The Egyptians used hieroglyphics to write out their mythological stories, their moral stories. All of their stories were about morality. All their stories taught you that you were a divine being. It taught you reincarnation, that you were a reincarnating being, that life didn't happen, that death, well, let me put it that way, death didn't happen the way it looked from the outside, or from the third eye, I mean the third dimensional perspective, the way we experienced it. They taught that they would pass, but the soul would reincarnate in multiple lifetimes. So these are the hieroglyphics that they use to explain this. These were their books back then. They would put it all in it, and then a picture would be 1,000 words. Like this, for example, Newt. This actually represents the firmament. See with the little stars on it? This actually represents what we call outer space, the sky would be like. They use this goddess Newt to show that. Also, they were showing you that you were a spiritual being, it's still in the womb, in the mother. That's why right here you have the motherland here, which would be planet Earth. Only if you were initiated would you understand it that way, in that particular way. But the thing about ancient Egypt, they were teaching it the same way. They just used this. So the people in society understood that this was mythology. They knew what it meant, so to speak. They just didn't know it at the depth that the initiate knew it, but they did know or get the messages through these types of mediums or teachings. So just to give you a little brief understanding of how they used ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, used their hieroglyphs, and they didn't take it as literal. I say they wouldn't take it literally the way today's society take religions literally, because they didn't use literal. They didn't use words, they used pictures. See, the Egyptians understood that the human brain thought or operated in pictures, not words. So we didn't have letters then. They use pictures, geographic or geometrical shapes, how the brain actually communicates with the divine. And we'll get to that as well. It's important that geometrical shapes in the aspects of nature. That's why they use the animals' heads, and the aspects of nature were important to getting the information across. So here I'm just showing you the third eye. The surface, it looks like an eye, but this is what they were actually explaining, this part of the brain, right? See how this part is shaped similar? See that curve shaped like an eye? But this is the center of the brain. This is the third eye, the pineal gland, right? The all-seeing eye. That's what they were showing you in their depictions. This is how the esoteric and exoteric information coincided or coexisted in these times. This is how they gave people a picture or understanding of how even the human body work and how spirit and soul work. So the third eye is known as the seat of the soul. This pineal gland, which is in your brain, is how we speak to the spiritual realm. This eye is the all-seeing eye because this eye can see multiple dimensions. They were telling the people, showing the people, this is your dimensional eye. This is the eye you use. The two eyes on your face were for this physical world, the illusion, the matrix. This is how we experience the matrix, right? This is how we seeing the illusion, the hologram through the two frontal eyes. But this eye was third eye right there is truly how we experience the real world, or how we see the matrix for what it is. So when Neo took the red pill, basically what it was saying is that Neo, if we want to use an analogy, the analogy to it is Neo opened the third eye and it was unveiled to him. The veil fell and he could actually see the real world for what it was. That is how the movie relates to this particular part. Now, here's another figure that attended the Egyptian mystery school. This is Pythagoras. Pythagoras is known as the father of philosophy in ancient Greece. Greece is a society that came long after ancient Egypt. When he joined the school, or allowed to join the schools, Egypt had went through I would say, a fall in leadership. Yet the mystery school still maintained the sciences. So Pythagoras went there and he learned mathematics, music, chemistry, alchemy, geometry, all of these sciences. So that's why he's known as the father of philosophy. And he's known as the one that helped them become civilized and build societies. And recognize these little blocks right here are going to be a constant reminder or a constant pattern that you will see as we move along in this presentation. That's important because and then the other thing there is symbology, recognizing patterns and symbologies, symbols, sacred geometry, like this triangle, for example, or this pyramid. All of this is relevant. This is something that those who initiated and went through the ancient mystery schools could do. This is something I can do right now, like I was showing you in that other picture. I could have went on and on about what that depiction meant in ancient Egypt because I am in knowledge of the mysteries. My consciousness has accepted and downloaded the ability to see symbology see the symbols and pay attention to patterns. That's one thing you learn in the mystery schools. That's what made you initiate. And see right here, he has a compass down here. That compass is important. Remember that compass shape. Because when we go there, we're going to talk about the secret societies who became the holders of the esoteric information. And speaking of secret societies, this is Sir Isaac Newton, who was said to be a part of one of the earliest secret society Freemasons, who were also known as the Illuminated ones, the Illuminati that a lot of people talk about. Sir Isaac Newton was a scientist, and he was also he didn't go to the Egyptian mystery school, because at this time Egypt had fallen completely under Roman. I mean, this is England. I mean, this is a whole nother time, but mysteries continue to be passed down to them, right? The sacred mathematics, the geometry, the science, the physics, right? So he became a figure, a well-known figure in his time for rediscovering these sciences and physics and the knowledge, resurrecting the knowledge at that time. And all of that knowledge was esoteric. Now here's a figure that you may know, and on the subject of secret societies, the Freemasons, is George Washington, one of your founding fathers, one of those who came here to the shores of the Americas and colonized and created these United States. So here's that checkered floor again. That's sacred geometry. Not only that, it has a multiple meanings, but one of these meanings are the law of polarity, the law of duality, right? Opposite poles. Also, these pillars represent the same thing, polarity. Everything has an opposite. Just give me a little breakdown. I'll be doing videos on the actual esoteric science to teach those who want to know, but just to let you give you an understanding of the difference between the esoteric and how they perceive things versus exoteric. So while most people probably would think of George Washington as being an exoteric, like they would probably think, okay, government and this and that, God and religion, they would probably think George Washington was the epitome of that, right? But actually, he was a esoteric Freemason in the secret society. Benjamin Franklin, all of these guys were in the esoteric sciences, esoteric understanding. They knew the truth, and here they put it in their art. So you'll see the checker floor, and here's that compass again you just seen on the last slide with Pythagoras. This is how long I'm saying, I'm just showing you how they keep in this science, how they were passing it down. They were passing down the knowledge. And it all started in the Egyptian mystery schools, Sir Isaac Newton. And so to be initiated was basically to be given the truth. We'll go back to Neo. Neo wanted the truth. Neo was given the truth, regardless of how harsh it was in that movie. That's what it was. So we'll cover this more. There's a lot of symbological meanings in here. This will actually represent the left and right brain. The left brain being logical, the right brain being the creative brain, right? That's why he had the writing here. Because reading and writing is usually associated with left brain activity, logical brain. Creating, that's why you had the brick mason. Creating and building architecture is usually right brain activity. These are things that are known by the esoteric or the initiated. Here, George Washington was an initiate. They were initiated into Freemason, which was the secret society. All right. And see here, right here, you see the Masonic, where the Masonics get their compass from. They get it from the understanding or overstanding of how the cosmos really works, how the cosmos looks when you're looking through that third eye. I was showing you that third eye gland when you do the practices and you open up that third eye, or if you take the right elixirs, such as ayahuasca or DMT, you open the third eye, or use crystals, which I have done using the crystals. You can activate that third eye, and you will see things for what they truly are. So this is just basically how they're showing you how the cosmos really is. I know there's a lot of debate between these flat earthers and round earthers, right? Well, I guess that's what you call them, round earthers. But there's a big debate about flat earth, and is the earth a sphere? Is the planet rotating around the sun, or is the sun rotating around the planet? Well, this is the esoteric breakdown of it. And as an occult esoteric knowledge holder myself, I'd say it's both. It's always been both. See, exoteric in the exoteric world, people argue about, is it round or is it flat? But in the esoteric understanding or overstanding, we know that it's both. It's both, because flat, what's that? That's two-dimensional. The circle is three-dimensional. You can't have the two without the three. And so this is what it would look like if you were to open that third eye. You would see everything. You would see multi-dimensional. You wouldn't see everything as a spirit. So the reason we're seeing the earth as a spirit and seeing it rotate around the sun is because we're looking through it through a different lens. You're looking at it through your two eyes, which are tuned into third dimensional frequency, which is the matrix, it's the program. And that program is allowing you to see it that way. But when you go within and learn how to use the third eye apparatus in symbolic, you start to see symbols, you will see it this way, where you will see it both. You will see it both. You will see the flat and the round. See, this is a torus field around the earth, which makes it look round. And this flat piece looks flat is projected throughout this torus field, which gives you your global look. And I get into that in another and frequent more as I break this thing down. I will get into that particular knowledge or information. This just give you the surface level understanding of esoteric and exoteric knowledge and information, and why you see things one way and not the true way. Here's another illustration of, you see the Masonic compass here, and we see where that compass comes from, right? It comes from this shape, which is the elemental shape, whereas this particular shape would be considered a masculine. This would be the feminine energy, which gives you the shape of the compass, just to give you a little bit on the esoteric sciences as to why that is. So this goes to show you this atom, even the atom is similar to the planet. That goes back to the universal laws, talking about the law of correspondence, as above, so below. Just to give you a little bit of it, because I don't want to go off on a tangent and get off the subject. as we're talking about the exoteric and esoteric knowledge. But this is proof. This shows you that even in the atom is a fractal of the whole, but they hold the same pattern. The torus field, the counter space, this right here is the counter space between the torus field of the planet. The planet has a torus field, the atom has a torus field, and the human being has a torus field. We are connected to everything. The ideology that we're separate from everything is the exoteric, which is why it's exo, it's outside. So everything you see and think of, you perceive it as outside of yourself. So you can't, you're not seeing this because you're a part of this. But I'm showing you this to show you that energy, we're connected to everything. The illusion that you're not, that you're an individual and not connected to everything is the matrix, actually. It is how you are experiencing the matrix. So this is a little bit of that. This is esoteric information, esoteric knowledge that you don't have to go to a ancient mystery school nowadays. You don't have to be initiated into one of these secret societies to get this information. It's available now because this is the Aquarius age, and all mysteries and secrets are being revealed. What you have to do is raise your consciousness and accept that what you know to be as truth or reality is not truth. It is not our reality. And that thing everybody say is your truth, my truth, that's bullshit. There's only one truth. Your truth is just what you choose to believe. That doesn't make it true. But these are facts. These can be proven. So here, there go that checker floor again. And so let's talk about this checker floor. This represents duality. Now in the movie, getting back to the movie, you know, in the last portion of it, I showed you when Neo woke up in the Matrix or in the machine before Morpheus came and rescued him in their ship. They had a ship that came out and picked up Neo, because once he came out of that pod, he hadn't, you gotta understand, he grew up in that pod, so he hadn't had use of his arms or legs. He couldn't even walk. They had to regenerate his muscles using acupuncture and stuff like that. You know, check out the movie. It's going to make sense. But further on in the movie, Neo went to see what's called the Oracle. The Oracle would be a psychic. The Oracle was inside of the Matrix. So he had to plug back in from the ship that they used, the source of the mainframe, their computer, to get into the Matrix. Because at this point, the Matrix acknowledged or was aware that Neo had awakened and joined the rebellion that Morpheus was leading at the time. So when they were going into the building to see the Oracle, or actually they had just seen the Oracle, and Neo got his prophecy. He seen this cat going across the doorway. Now, most of you all know or heard of deja vu, and if you hadn't experienced it, I'm sorry. But deja vu is that feeling that you've seen something or you've been somewhere before. In the movie, that was called the glitch in the Matrix, meaning the program was resetting itself. And that is true. That's a real thing. I experience it all the time. And when I experience, I acknowledge it because I'm knowledgeable of what it is. But I see, I understand that, oh, it's the simulation. It's resetting itself. There's a glitch in it. Either I'm aware, my awareness is beyond the matrix to where I see the simulation, or the simulation is trying to adjust to my consciousness. So that's what happened in this movie. And see, they go to check the floor again, showing you the duality. And this checkered floor could be also dictated as the esoteric and the exoteric, whichever one you want to choose. I don't want to get into the black or white checkers there, but of course, um, you have a contrast of enlightenment and non-enlightenment, so to speak. But as we're gonna learn on my channel, and as I teach these sciences, that the darkness is actually the light. It's actually concentrated light. But people who are now using these sciences against us, the powers that be, they don't know this. They don't understand the difference in the darkness and the light. All right. Because in the esoteric sciences, the way the creator created things, there's a balance. There's a balance in energy. I just say that there's a balance, and all beings are not equal in their evolution or their vibrations or their ascension, which is the ultimate goal. The matrix is to ascend out of the matrix, or to learn the lessons or master this dimension, this physical dimension that we're in. Because we are spiritual beings that are having a physical experience. And that's a little vague. I hear that a lot. It's true, but it's deeper than that. It's a little deeper than that. And to prevent me just going in on this tangent I'm about to go in on, let me just leave it there. And as you follow me in my next subsequent videos, I will get into depth as to what that is. And but right now I just want you to see the difference between esoteric knowledge, exoteric information. Notice I said one, I call one knowledge. Esoteric is knowledge. Exoteric is information. It's a difference. One is facts. One is just information that is given to the masses. But with this one, this is basically showing you how a few individuals or a few families are controlling the whole of existence, because they are initiated, they were initiates, or the initiate information was passed down to them, or the initiate knowledge. Let me correct that. The knowledge was passed down to them, and they continue to distribute information to the masses. So this will be the masses being played in a game. This game would actually represent the matrix. Symbols, patterns, and symbols have multiple meanings. But once you open your mind and your consciousness, you will start to catch on to these patterns and these meanings. So this pattern on this floor also represents the matrix. That's the matrix. The matrix is a contrast of patterns, interwoven energies that can be considered masculine. You got masculine energy and feminine energy. You got positive energy and negative energy. So you got light energy, dark energy, you got etherical energy, astral energy. So saying let's just say that this is, once you get into symbology or symbolism, once you get into symbolism and you open up, or you become initiated into the esoteric science, it takes on a new meaning. You start to see it for what it is. And in this depiction, we see that it's a game that's being played on the masses in the current society. Now, earlier when I was showing you in ancient Egypt, they didn't play games. Not in the early parts. They didn't use this knowledge to trick people. They actually used it to educate them, to teach them. And then had they wanted to take it to the next level and become an initiate, they could become an initiate in the ancient mystery school. The difference in today is they're hiding the knowledge or trying to demonize the knowledge, information as not being valid in order to keep you sleep on that blue pill I was showing you with Neo. Neo could have chosen to take the blue pill and he would have stayed asleep, right? But he chose the red pill. And so here you see that checkered floor again. Now, what does that remind you of as well? Chess. This is a chessboard. This is how they get their chess game from, right? Making moves on a grander scale as kings and queens and knights, while they use the masses, as their damn game board piece. That's why the matrix, understanding and surviving the matrix is important. That's what we get into in explaining this information. And as you follow me, I'll be going in depth about the symbology, the symbolism of these different depictions. Chutes and ladder, for example, like this is the Kundalini energy moving up the spine, which is where you get your story of Adam and Eve and Eve being tempted by the fruit. See, that's esoteric. They know all of this. In the esoteric, they don't. Okay, this would be a good point for me to illustrate. So, this Adam and Eve story, just as I described it to you, this is actually Kundalini energy. This is serpentine energy. It's not even a serpent. They use a serpent, as I showed you in ancient Egypt. They use animals to explain aspects. All right. In the exoteric knowledge or information in the biblical text, they talk about Adam and Eve, or Eve being tempted by the fruit, the tree of life, in the fruit of the tree, and was prohibited to eat that fruit, and then was punished. That's the exoteric understanding. The esoteric understanding knows that this was simply speaking on the Kundalini energy moving up the spine and activating that third eye I was telling you about, the third eye energy. Right here, the stairway to heaven, which also is the Jacob's ladder, was speaking of the spine and how that energy moves up the spine. Right. So there's a lot to it, this symbolism. And that's why the esoteric sciences are such a mystery or so complex as they are, because once you start unraveling this, you will see that there's more than meets the eye. Definitely. But this is also illustrated how the esoteric and exoteric sciences are being used to this day. And I don't know if you can see in this depiction, see those ghosts? They're like little ghosts in the background. These are the forefathers that helped these suckers get into position. But we're about to get into that. We're about to break it down. Starting here. So I would like to cover when the esoteric and exoteric information got, I would say, corrupted and used against us. And let me just briefly talk about these guys, the Etruscans. They existed. There was pre-Roman Empire. Now these Etruscans, Etruscan, did I even spell it right? Etruscans, yeah, Etruscan. I missed maybe no, that's right. it doesn't matter. Um, but the Etruscans um, came about around 700, 650 BC. They were known as the Red People. They had blonde hair and blue eyes, so we know they were also known as the Aryans. They also used SWAT stickers to boom, I drew one. They also used SWAT stickers. Um, they were some of the first Roman emperors or kings, right? And what is known of these guys, they also are connected to the Phoenicians. But what's known about these guys is that when I was showing you in the ancient Egypt mysteries in the Egyptian mystery schools, how they learn magic and what was it said, other incantations. These guys use sorcery and divination and pre-dynastic Rome, and they will bury their dead in Rome. This was a ritual of sorcery, right? They understood energy. So energy and spirit and magic and all of that are synonymous. Let me just put it that way. So these guys knew how to use certain particular rituals to give them a foothold. Let's just put it that way, give them a foothold and control of the outcomes that they wanted to um, create in their reality, as they understood or they knew the esoteric information. Now, also, there are levels to the esoteric information. Now, in some cases, and I believe in this particular case, they understood esoteric information, but they didn't understand it the way the ancient Egyptians did. As if they did, they wouldn't have used it as they are using it today. Because as we know, as initiates or and those who are knowledgeable about energy and how it works and esoteric meanings of these things, we know that energy is a cycle, a cyclical um, thing, whereas it's constantly moving back and forth, and what you do or put out there, it returns. So, but these guys, they understood it too. They understood at a level as to how to control societies or how to control their environment in a way to which they could rule, so to speak. So, without going into the in depth ideology of how one is supposed to create or elevate in the matrix truly, we'll just say this society of people use these energies for their own personal gain and rulership. So they were called the Red Shields, which translated as the Rothschilds. Y'all familiar with Rothschild? They are a ruling family, and they go as far back as the Etruscans. Some of the first Roman emperors, Roman kings, and even then they were bankers. They was trying to or using papyrus as a intermediate of trade. They've been at it for a long time trying to get banking systems in place. And as we know about the Rothschilds, we know that they bankroll both sides of several wars, right? We also know them as Germans, and they were the Jewish. They have a Jewish lineage, and they eventually became the banking. I would call the central banking cartel of the world, right? So, saying all that to say that they understood, they use esoteric information and handed out exoteric information to the public. And while we're going there, we can go even to another group of uh, um, Europeans, Proto-Europeans, who were also esoteric, and their lineage goes all the way back to the Knights Templar. And then what's important about the Knights Templar is they handed out two doctrines as well, one to the initiated and one to the Catholics, or Catholicism. Uh, the initiated was esoteric, which the Knights Templars were the esoteric, or the secret society, and the Catholic Church, which were the priests. The priesthood were given the exoteric information, which became religion. So that's important. And here we go. This is the garb, the Knights Templar. And if any of you know the history of the Holy Wars, you would know that the Knights Templar were heavily involved in these holy wars and securing Jerusalem, and they were behind the Catholic Church, but they didn't believe the doctrines that they gave the Catholic Church. So they were the esoteric, and these guys became the exoteric. This is the Ku Klux Klan, and you can see they still wear some of the same crosses and similar garbs. That goes to show you how dangerous exoteric knowledge is when it's taken literally. So literally, these people believe that they are some kind of genetic superiority to the original people on the planet, which are the people of the sun avatars, which are the people of color, which are known as black people to this day. Um, they felt they were superior to them, and they were this Aryan brotherhood, which goes back to what I was telling you about the red shields and the Aryans. And this cross, I can make one. This cross actually is a part of a swastika. I can't make it like that. But all of it is tied together. All of that is tied together. I'm just linking the link. So the Knights Templars were the esoteric. The Catholic priests, or which became Christians and so on and so forth, were the exoteric. And I'm just showing you how far down the line that exoteric acceptance came down in and how dangerous it is, how dangerous it was. We, without even going into what these Ku Klux Klan characters were, we know, and it wasn't good. So this is symbolism. These are the symbols the esoteric um, initiates use in both religion and in corporation, corporate sales, and corporate logos. Esoteric initiates are big on symbolism. They know the power of symbolism. Symbolism, sacred mathematics, and sacred geometry. See, the universe is uh, universally mathematically quantumized. Um, it's geometrically mathematic. Math is the universal language of our existence. So geometry is that magic that was mentioned, and shapes and symbols have energetic power or energetic frequencies that gives a effect in both our physical world and our mental world, because like I said, the universe is mental. So these particular symbols, when they are seen by the individual, they have a certain effect on the human mind, on the subconscious mind. But you got to understand that the subconscious mind, which is that part of your mind that you're not aware of most of the time, that part of your mind that allows you to blink or your lungs to suck in air without you thinking about it, that that program that's constantly running, that is what picks up on these symbols, this symbolism, which is why this symbolism is used in logos, even color, all of that. Everything is relevant. The color, each color has a symbolic meaning. It has a effect on the subconscious mind, and in most cases, the exoteric society at whole don't even know they're using esoteric symbolism, because in society today, the esoteric has been deemed as evil or some kind of they use different tactics to keep you away from this, because they know this is power. They know this is the power that they use to control the masses. So even this Starbucks symbol, this is a goddess, Mama Wata, uh, as used largely in this is a water spirit, a water deity, right? And when you use these deities, you venerate them. Veneration is giving your attention, giving your energy. Intent energy is very powerful. That's what you pay attention to. Attention, intent. That's a powerful energy. That's where you focusing your energy at. Energy flows where attention goes, or energy goes where you get it. Wherever you put your attention, that's where your energy goes. And we'll get deeper into that in subsequent videos as well. But I just wanted you to see the symbolism and the sacred mathematics that is used in the exoteric society every day, but they don't know that they are actually using esoteric symbolism, right? It's just another example of it. So this dives even deeper into the esoteric knowledge and how the initiated sees the world. So, and I'll cover this in subsequent videos, but I just want you to see how vision actually works. This is how the third eye, the 3D perception of eyesight creates what's known as a sigil. This is called the sigil of Lucifer. And in the esoteric sciences, Lucifer means lucid, light bringer. In the exoteric knowledge, Lucifer is this fallen angel. It's supposed to be evil and the adversary of the creator or God or whatever. That goes to show you how different this is. And as a matter of fact, the Shriners, which is the higher level, 33rd degree Masons, Masonics. And let me mention that the Masons Masons are a lot like those Etruscans I was showing you, where they still have exoteric, a mixture of exoteric knowledge until they reach the 33rd degree, which they are totally initiated into the esoteric. But their understandings are limited compared to Shriners. Shriners, they venerate Lucifer, the light bringer. They use this sigil quite often. And they know that Lucifer is not this that doesn't have the same depiction as the exoteric, because they are the ones who gave, like I showed you in the other slide, the Knights Templar are the ones who gave the Catholicism or passed on their doctrine of exoteric information that became your religion, and taught you that this Lucifer being was a being or a deity that opposed God for some reason, but the fear of even realizing that, I hear people all the time, they get scared. They scared straight. You can't even, this whole idea of good and evil, let me just put it this way. This whole idea of good and evil does not exist in the real world, in the real, outside of the matrix. It's not the same. They're just degrees of energy. They're just poles of energy. And this is understood and known by the esoteric. That's why they're easy. They can control the masses easily, because they control you through fear. They scare you out of the truth. You got people running around here so scared they're gonna go to hell and devils and demons and shit. This is created by the esoteric initiates to keep the masses blind, keep you on that blue pill that Neo didn't take. So I'll be breaking down these are the esoteric information, knowledge, right? But I bring this up because, like I told you, numerology numbers are the backbone, the foundation of our existence. And right here is showing you that Lucifer mathematically is the same as Jesus. right? So they actually have you worshiping this guy in your religion while you think you're worshiping this guy or deities, which neither one of them are what you think they are in the first place. That's the level of confusion they have on you. And here in this symbol right here, this is the Kabbalion. This is the Kabbalion tree of life. And as you can see, that sigil is also part of that tree. And that's getting into the sciences. That's getting into the metaphysical science, the depths of this science. And a lot of you guys probably not even going to be interested in that. But this is just showing you how geometric patterns are used repetitively in our existence. Here it is again with the sun, the moon, and the earth, giving you the distance of how light reflects on the planet, and it's the same as it does in your brain, which goes back to that law of correspondence I was telling you: as above, so below, as within, so without. Your universe is a reflection of what's happening right here inside of you. Everything is repetitive, everything has a repetitive pattern. That's getting deep into the exoteric, but I want you to see how deep the esoteric knowledge goes. But it will free you. It will free you from these fears. It will free you from the trap that your soul, your spirit is dwelling in. It'll free you from that constant incarnation, reincarnating in this matrix and not reaching your goal, your spiritual goal, which is to ascend and become an ascended master. So this is the left brain, this is the right brain, and it's showing you how it relates to the Kabbalion tree. Everything is connected. I'm telling you, I lying. Everything is connected, and once you free your mind, you will see how all these things are connected, and that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So right here is showing you how. Okay, Constantine. If y'all not familiar, most people aren't familiar with Constantine, Roman Empire, the Roman emperor who solidified the Christian religion, right? Um, and this is just basically showing you how Constantine created the Jesus Christ, right? Um, the name Jesus really etymologically means hail Zeus. I ain't gonna get all deep into it. I got a whole nother video I'm going to do on unmasking religion, and it's going to be the same. It's going to be in the same series of surviving the matrix, but this part of the series is called the esoteric versus exoteric. But it's going to be in the same vein of it. But and we will be revisiting this same information. I just wanted you to see how the esoteric gave you your exoteric information and how they use things, they combine these things. Zeus was a thunder god created in Greek mythology, right? This is mythology. That's why I told you in the exoteric understanding, the stuff, everything is taken literally. The information they give you, what you read, is taken literally. Religion is taken literally, but it's not true. So here's Krishna from the Hindu religion where you get your word Christ, which Christ even goes further back to Christos, which is the uh uh Christos, the anointed one, which is the anointed fluid that the brain produce to when uh the kundalini energy is raised, and the mind has the balance between the left and right hemispheres. And that's getting into the deeper knowledge of esoteric, but I just wanted to show you how they are using these terms in the exoteric world, and how it became Jesus Christ. And now most people swear that this is their savior, or that they have a savior, that a savior exists. And that has become dangerous in a lot of ways, as I showed you in a former slide of the Ku Klux Klan, who claims that they're doing God's work. You can't tell them that they ain't good Christians. But still, our people, my people of color, follow this stuff to a net. They follow it, you know, the oppressor's idea of spirituality. And you can't tell them no difference. It's a trap. It's a mental trap. They are trapped in the matrix. This is what this all about. This is all about the survival of such traps. And I'm not going to get into this. I get into it in another video. It's just showing you. I'm just showing you here the exoteric information, but you can read it right here. The Christmas deception exposed. Santa equals anagram of Satan. So just go to show you that the thing you think you are worshiping, the things you think you are, your holidays and all of that, comes from the esoteric, the esoteric information that was given to you in the exoteric form. And you're taking it literally, and nobody can tell you nothing, but that's the trap. That is what traps you. Your mind is being trapped. Remember, I told you that the universe is mental. Your mind is trapped. Therefore, your soul is trapped in this constant loop of incarnating. Like I showed you with Neo incarnating, how they were incarnating human beings in that power plant, in those pods. That's what the average human being now, your mind, your spirit is being incarnated in this matrix, in this realm, because you refuse to wake up. You refuse to take that red pill that Neo took. on this vibration. You are on this esoteric journey of truth. You are a truth seeker. So this is how the elites rule, right? This is why they're at the top. This is how they've placed a material substance in between your needs. Money, that's not a real thing. They've tricked you. Now we're wondering like why we don't have enough, and we thinking that scarcity actually exists when this was all a game from the beginning. Capitalism is a game. You cannot win this. I don't know why our people will not grow out of this ideology that we can assimilate with these people. Someday we'll be taken as equals, and we can take our part in government, and we can become as equals to these people or these beings. With this information I'm giving you, the exoteric and exoteric, I'm showing you that you were never meant to be equal, and equality is actually a mental. Until you have this information, until you actually see things for what they are as a truth seeker, will you ever be able to go beyond this artificial ceiling that they placed on us. So this one is just to show you the difference in the exoteric, which is the outer realm of information, and the esoteric, which is the interior realm, the true knowledge of information. So this is a depiction of the Last Supper that was painted by Leonardo da Vinci, and he was a Freemason that was initiated into the esoteric science. Now, on the exoteric level, when you see this picture, everybody think it's this Last Supper, and Jesus is Jesus and his disciples. Leonardo da Vinci painted this painting. And then that movie, what was the name of that movie? And with Dan Aykroyd. I forgot the name of that movie. He was decoding all of this information from these paintings that Leonardo placed in the secret society stuff in it. And they still wasn't telling you the truth, right? But this is just showing you that all of this is astrological. Your Bible, you into the Holy Bible, whether you into the Quran or you into the Torah, all of it is astrological based. The astrology. And like I say, talk to black people today, and when I start talking about astrology, they got a little bit of understanding of what it is. They know what the sun sign is, but they don't understand that there's a whole chart in all of these all these astrological bodies, as above, so below, affect you. These are energies that affect you, and on the date of your birth, all of these energies became part of you, part of your existence. So that's just how important astrology is. Most people thinking it's a joke, or either it's evil, or either it's some kind of. I'm showing you how the esoteric initiates see this portrait. They know what this means. They know that this sun, the son of God, is the sun. It's talking about the astrological sun. They know that each one of these disciples represent an aspect of the zodiac, right? From Aries to Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and the Virgo, which was Mary Magdalene, symbolism. Each one of these disciples, even these are crystals right here, or planets. These are planets. It's showing you how they correlate with the planets, crystals. Like I say, everything overlaps. Everything is connected. Nothing is separate. That's the illusion. That's the matrix illusion. That there's separation and divisions in our aspects of life. That's the virtual reality. So here we have And I'm about to go show you this again. Now, all of this is relevant, like the 12 constellations. That's why you have 12 disciples. And I'm about to show you this. Our own religion. See here, this is Christianity. This is the Christian church. This is the cross that's related to the Kabbalah tree of life. Your 12 apostles in Christianity. We go over here to Jewish church. I think they use the Quran. Got that Kabbalah tree here again. This is called I think this is the Star of David Kabbalah. I mean Jewish tradition. And you have the same 12 again, the 12 tribes of Israel. It's the same as the 12 constellations I was showing you. See, the esoteric initiates, they know this, but this is exoteric information they're giving you. The 12 imams, which is in the Islamic tradition. And here's one of their main geometric shapes that they follow is the cube, the black cube. And it's part of the Kabbalah tree as well, tree of life. And this is just showing you how all of these things are related, how all of your religions are exoteric information, are exoteric in nature, but they are esoteric, or they have esoteric origin that the initiated can decode, that they know of. So here's that Star of David again, just show you quickly that basically in the esoteric world, this is the balance of energies. This is the male energy, the masculine energy, so to speak. This is the feminine energy, which is the upside down triangle. And this is the aspects of each one. This is the mother or feminine aspects. This is the soul or solar aspects on the left side, the left hemisphere being masculine, the right hemisphere being feminine energies. There go that checker floor again. I mean, you're gonna keep seeing the same patterns over and over again in our existence because the matrix is a program. It's a program. So in any program where you see zeros and ones, in the matrix, the zero is the female, which is the curves, and the ones are masculine. The straight lines are masculine. I think what's his name? Terrence Howard said there are no straight lines in nature. Yes, they are. They are the masculine parents. So, but I understand what he was saying, but he was saying there's no curve, there was straight lines in actual nature, like what nature creates, like on the planet on Earth. And that's because Earth is feminine in nature. It's a nurturing planet. We're in the womb. Mother Earth is feminine in nature and energetic in energy. Therefore, there are no straight lines, so to speak. Everything takes a curvaceous shape. So that's just to, correct Terrence Howard on that, because I know he's big online right now and talking to these, trying to convince these physicists of truth, and they're not getting it. And that's because he may not be explaining in the way that esoterics would understand versus exoterics, which are most of these scientists and physicists are. And so here go your crucifix again. This is basically the box. It's just showing you how all of these are connected. Islam is connected to Christianity. Christianity is connected to Catholicism or whatever you call the Jewish religion. Jews. I ain't gonna get into it. They got so many different Semites. And a Jew is a race instead of religion. I mean, they confuse things so to a point where you can't even say nothing. They got more. I ain't gonna get into it. Yeah, I ain't gonna. But anyway, it's just showing you a little bit of how the exoteric and esoteric contrast. And all of this information right here is esoteric, but it's showing you how it's encoded into the exoteric world. And therefore, I'm not going to break down what this is. Like I showed you, that's the box. This is Islam. That's the box. And this is also showing you that in Catholicism, they represent that same box, but it's in the shape of a hex. And that particular hex is in Saturn, right? And this is going to a whole nother level. This is the occult information, and I'll be breaking that down in another video, but I'm just surface leveling it right now. And I'll use this same depiction. I'll break this down to explain a whole nother concept in the matrix. But in this particular part of it, I just want you to understand and separate the information from knowledge. Separate information from knowledge, whereas the knowledge is esoteric, information is exoteric. I want to drive that home in this video. So this is going further into the exoteric. So in the exoteric world, this is what you see. I was showing you in the planetary. I was showing you how the Masons, the Freemasons, see the planet, as in multiple dimensions versus how the Republic see it as three-dimensional spheres. This is how General Public sees it as. And like I said, they got arguments about the flat Earth and this and that, and they're hiding this and they're hiding that. They're hiding the truth. No, it's just because you can't see both sides of it. You don't see both. They're not hiding anything. It's just that you are seeing this shit from a third dimensional perspective, and this is what it looks like, right? So, and this is Saturn, the sixth planet. So Saturn is the planet known that controls the matrix. This is where the control, if you want to say the control center of the system. When I was showing you like that power plant, the human power plant in the Matrix movie, this would be similar to, see, here's that hex that's at the top of the bottom of Saturn, right? And like I said, we'll get deeper into that as I actually decode exoteric information, esoteric science. But this is just showing you the contrast right now. And so this symbolism, this is mythology, talking about Kronos as Saturn, Zeus as Jupiter. This is the mythology, this is the mythological information that they were given in ancient Greece, Greek mythology, right? To explain aspects of reality or the planet. Now they were trying to mimic the Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, but like I said, by this time civilization had become corrupt and imbalanced. And as you see, everything was whitewashed. So we got the Caucasians everywhere. And so they took the knowledge and information and actually used it against the people. They weren't trying to teach the people at this point. They were just strictly trying to control. So that's why this mythology was taken literally in this era of time. It's at this point it's strictly for control. And here, this is kind of pertaining to the same information I was showing you on the churches and how they build their structure and how similar they use the same things, some of the same pillars mean one thing in the esoteric knowledge versus it's just a building, and the exoteric information. This is just showing you how they use this symbolism is a constant in their architecture. It's a constant and their geometric shapes, and all of these things are placed into your religions, which is esoteric, exoteric, and people are taking them literally as being truth. And it says right here, same building, same occult principles, same mind control. They're using it at this point in this day and age as mind control. It's showing you right here the union of opposites, opposite poles. Say you probably won't understand or overstanding this until you become initiated into the sciences and start to open up that mind and start to see how far your consciousness truly goes. Right now, you're limited in your perception because you're stuck in this gear. You're stuck in these exoteric informations that they're giving you, and you accepted that as your spirituality. And in most cases, spirituality is the epitome of existence for most people. So once you've tapped into that, in which these elites know, once you've gotten people uh um invested vested from a spiritual standpoint all in, you can't convince them of anything else. You got control. You're controlling it. Mind control. Universe is mental. Remember, you can control your mind. I don't even have to control your body. You're going to do it for me. Once I control your mind through symbolism and spirituality, you'll do whatever. That's the remote control. You do whatever we need you to do in society. And that is how they are controlling the matrix. That is how they're using the matrix. The matrix wasn't meant for this. But those who are knowledgeable, who have the esoteric information, are using the matrix against you. The matrix was originally meant for us. It was a spiritual incubator or a spiritual school for spirits to elevate and for the creator to experience through us, expand through us, right? That's a little bit deeper. I can get deeper into it, but right now I just got to give you the surface level information. I don't even know how long this video is so far. And so, like I was telling you, your mind, that first law, universal law, is that all is mental. This is a mental universe. Like I was just telling you, once they got you stuck in this gear, in this mindset, once they've imprisoned your mind, they don't have to imprison your body. Your body's gonna follow. So this is a depiction of the new slave, right? You're slaves to debt. You have a wage slave. You think that you have to, or we've been programmed to feel that we have to go earn a wage, and we get stuck in particular wages or compensation. And speaking of our people of color, man, we've experienced all of these enslavements. Poverty, you're a slave, poverty slave, you're a prison slave. These are the different enslavements that are happening due to the fact that we are enslaving our own minds. Our own minds are in prison due to the fact that we believe in exoteric information and we're taking that as the literal truth. And here is the definition of religion. Religion comes from the verb religar, means to tie back, to hold back, to thwart from forward progress, to bind. This is the I know this definition. You can look this one up. You can Google that and gonna say to bind. It's binding you. It's keeping you trapped. Exoteric info, right? A false religion is a system of control based on unchallenged important dogmatic belief, which holds back the progress of consciousness. You're trapping your consciousness in this exoteric information. And we're going to revisit this as well in subsequent videos. I just want you to know how that if exoteric information actually affects the general public. And here in the movie, this is really the end of the movie Matrix. The Matrix is when Neo masters Matrix. This is when Neo becomes a ascended master, equal to what an ascended master would be in the true matrix. He's starting to see the code. He can read the code at this point. That's why they use this code in the background. He can see the computer code now. He can see the matrix for what it is, which is why he has on glasses. shades. He's not using these eyes anymore. He's a third eye seer now, right? And this is where they get that concept or the character Neo from. It's on the neocortex part of the brain, the cognitive, language, sensory, perceptive, spatial, and reasoning. So Neo has tapped into that third eye. He's using that eye, that pineal gland, meaning he's raised his consciousness. He's vibrating on a high frequency now, and he sees he's initiated into the esoteric. He sees symbolism, all these symbols, all these geometric shapes and symbols. He see them for, he can decode it now. This is code. He can decode this computer program or simulation that is called the matrix, and we're in a similar simulation, but it's not computerized. It's divine. It's a divine matrix. It is geometrical and it is mathematical, just as if it is in this movie. But the thing is unlike the movie, we can actually escape this matrix. It's not the same fate as the movie where the AI has taken over the world and Neo is the savior to help balance this matrix. In the real world, we have to balance energy. We have to rebalance the energy, and that's what I'm here to do, to bring balance. You can call me the Neo of the real matrix because I'm going in to bring this balance. And here is the agent. Now, to catch you up and give you a little background on the agent in the movie. Basically, the agent would be the regulator or the system control mechanism, the matrix. In the movie, the agent was the anti-hero or the opposition of Neo. It was part of the program, part of the matrix program built in. So I'm showing you this because in our world, the agent would be this part of the brain, right? Would be this part of the brain, which would be the reptilian brain. This would be the reptilian brain, which is part of the brain that regulates. This part of the brain, we experience the fight or flight. It's the part of the brain that is instinctive. It only wants, it has basic instincts, basic needs, right? This would be the control mechanism embedded in the matrix program. So this is the program that's embedded into your human mind or apparatus, which is the brain and the hypothalamus area. And this part of your brain is the part of your brain that deals with basic needs, survival needs. Fight or flight is also it could be helpful in times of survival, but to elevate, you have to get up here. We have to use our more evolved consciousness, more evolved part of our brain. But I'm just showing you where the agent in the movie was trying to control the minds that were connected to the matrix. He was the police, so to speak, the agent. He was the built-in program that was to the matrix in order to keep the people asleep, keep the people from reaching their higher potential, which in the matrix, in the movie, they had they waken up in the state that they were in, it wouldn't have been good for them. Thank God that's a movie. But in the real world, in the real matrix, that's the part of your brain that tries to hold you back or keep you stuck in the matrix by providing your basic instinctual needs, right? Those that part of you. See how I say right here, like fornicate. That part of you that's animal, that 666, that your animal body. So when you reach the level of the neocortex, when you freed yourself from those lower needs, those reptilian needs, you free yourself from the matrix as well. You free yourself from the control of the agents. In the movie, Neo was fighting against this agent the whole time, and towards the end, the agent killed Neo. He shot him. Neo resurrected. This is all symbolic. This is why I like this movie. This is symbolism, right? Meaning that you can allow that agent or your lower self or that lower reptilian brain to you can allow it to stop you like it tried to do in the movie Matrix, or you can let it kill off your old self, that part of you that was afraid, that part of you that was dependent on that reptilian brain, that lower self, and free yourself and resurrect and become awakened, become initiated into the esoteric knowledge of truth and see the matrix for what it really is, a mental trap, if we allow it to be, or it could be what it was meant to be, which was a school, which is what the ancient Egyptians used it. The ancient mystery schools taught it as school for the soul, a spiritual incubator, a spiritual virtual reality, so that you can learn to elevate to your higher self. And I think this is where I want to conclude this particular part of the video, or the particular part of the series, Surviving the Matrix, Esoteric versus the Exoteric. I want to thank you all if you took this journey with me. And I know I should have said this earlier in the video, but yeah, subscribe, like, share this information. And also I'll be putting some information on here to get your support the channel, supporting myself and in this movement. This is a movement. This is the movement. This is the return of the Christ consciousness. Christ was in a being. Christ was a conscious. Christ was mind. Christ was a fisherman of minds. So all of that relates to this matrix phenomenon that we're in right now. So let me just end it here, and we'll return the next video on surviving the matrix. And I'll see you then. Peace.